Are there any other last questions for Doug, our special speaker? He's number 17. We also have Russ. Russ Fine was the second ever special speaker. Marley was 14th. John's on all the time. Ron's on all the time. Inning has been on a lot recently. I definitely appreciate everybody coming on. But yeah, anybody that we haven't heard from, go ahead.
Doug, thank you so much for this really interesting and excellent session. I would have a question that I'm personally, like for my personal self, interested in. What is your take on Europe versus US? You showed on your slide that Europe and China are outcompeting US in funding. On the other hand, US has most patents. And how do you see the movements going?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. You know, in the past, in some of the previous generations of technology, you know, like semiconductors and personal computers and even social media, the US has been way ahead of Europe, but it's a different world now. And Europe is absolutely committed to try to not be left behind. And I can see that in all of their various countrywide strategies from France, from the UK, from Australia. Many of them, Germany, many of them are saying, we're not going to let, essentially they're saying, we're not going to let the US get ahead of us this time. So there is a very strong technology base. There are very good companies out there. They are outspending the US. I think the one advantage that the US may have is US has some very good, is very good at commercializing technology. And you know, we still can leverage the strong classical computing infrastructure we have here today, more specifically the cloud providers. You know, you have Amazon, you have Microsoft, IBM, and others are very good cloud services. And I think in most cases, quantum computing will be used through the cloud. And that's quite frankly, one weakness I think the Europeans have. They don't really have a strong cloud supplier, cloud industry base like we have here. China, of course, everyone talks about US versus China, but I actually wrote an article saying, hey, don't ignore the Europeans. The Europeans have some very good people, very strong technology, and I definitely could see that you're going to see some very good results from them over the years.
How about South Africa?
South Africa?
Yeah.
I don't know if I know of any quantum companies in South Africa. I know there's an organization called One Quantum that has countrywide, sort of like a meetup type of thing. And there's a One Quantum South Africa. And, you know, they have some people who are joining that, trying to get together, but offhand, I can't think of any. But if you go to my website, under the players section, under private startup, I actually list the country. There's something like 250 startups, and I list the country for each startup. And you can do a filter and see if there's anyone from South Africa.
Anybody else? So I put Russ Fine, he's a previous special speaker. I'll put Marlu's in here. Yeah, any other questions? Put them in the chat. Natalie Hawkins asks, so PsiQuantum they're able to avoid NISC. What are their biggest challenges?
Well, they PsiQuantum, I wouldn't say avoid NISC, they've taken a purposeful strategy of not using NISC, again, because they fundamentally don't believe that you'd be able to do anything useful. And that's their goal, is to provide a useful quantum computer. They are making good progress. You know, actually there was, I think just announced, I don't know if you saw it when you flashed it on the screen, but another $25 million has been allocated to their foundry partner, Global Foundries, and they're using a commercial foundry. But you know, they have a challenge of being able to fabricate chips in that foundry. They do have some very aggressive goals in order to make the reliability of the qubit fidelity good enough. They are implementing error correction. And they will have a large integration issue